Guys, I'm Dr. Tom Neblett with 4 Points Family Chiropractic. You've joined this month's episode of our Living to 100 webinar series. In case you don't know, our office is located in Northwest Austin at the entrance to the River Place subdivision off of Ranch Road 2222. This month, we're going to be discussing childhood vaccinations. We're going to take a look also at some of the concerns around vaccines. In addition to that, we're going to be discussing natural ways to improve your children's health and immunity and the role that chiropractic care can play in both of those things. So first, let's talk briefly about vaccines. All right, childhood vaccines have been around. They began back in the 40s and 50s when the polio vaccine was introduced. The DPT vaccine was introduced. And over the years, they have expanded to include vaccines for many, many more diseases. They're credited with the elimination or near elimination of many of the most serious childhood illnesses that used to plague generations of children in the past. They're considered, for the most part, not only effective, but by and large, safe for the majority of children who receive them. My dad's a pediatrician. All right, I've received all the immunizations that were available at that time, which was a total of about 12 doses of vaccine I had by the time I was 18. Children today, however, receive over 70 doses of vaccine by the time they're 18. And this is one of the concerns that many parents have regarding vaccines. Now, to be clear, it's not my desire to create controversy or to push my opinion or any opinion onto anybody, or to say that the decisions I've made for my own children are the right decisions. What I do believe is that every parent should have the right to choose when and which vaccines that are administered to their children based on their own research, their own concerns, and ultimately what they believe is right for their children. Any strategy that requires mandatory vaccines and is given for the greater good is going to be a problem. There was a study that was published by the Center for Disease Control that studied the 10-year period between 1991 and 2001, and they determined during that period that 1 in 100,000 doses of vaccine resulted in a severe adverse reaction to the children that received the vaccine. All right. What they defined as a severe adverse reaction was a reaction that resulted in a prolonged hospital stay, a severe life-threatening illness, a permanent disability, or death. All right. So based on those odds, the chances are fairly slim that your child will have a severe adverse reaction. But realize that was per dose. So you're taking 1 in 100,000 doses. If our children are getting 72 doses apiece, then divide that number by 72, and the odds aren't quite as good. Regardless, it doesn't matter what the odds are. If my child is that 1 in 100,000, that's devastating. I've known patients that have told me their children had a severe adverse reaction. It was a devastating event for the child, for the family, and it wasn't just an event. It became a lifetime issue to deal with. So that's why we can't have a one-size-fits-all strategy and everybody be required to, that we have to have the right to choose for our kids. There have been no long-term studies tracking the effects of vaccines over the long term. There has been a huge increase in autism, ADD, ADHD, autoimmune diseases, and arthritis that correlate with the increases in vaccine doses. There have been other environmental factors that could also be implicated, but it definitely is correlated with vaccine increases. Causation studies that are mainly set up by the pharmaceutical companies that have some bias in the studies they set up have not been able to show a direct causation between immunizations and these severe reactions like autism. But they also have not been able to deny a direct causation either. So just something to be aware of. So the first thing I want to say going forward is I am not a medical doctor, and vaccine recommendations are outside of my scope of practice. But what I am is I'm the father of 3 children, all right? And I did my own research that influenced my decisions when it came to vaccinating my children. So these are some concerns I want to share with you that I recommend that you look into on your own. I think they merit investigation if you want to educate yourself and know what goes into your vaccines. Number one concern is the age at which immunizations are given. First immunization is given at birth, and that happens to be the hepatitis B vaccination. All right, hepatitis B is a disease your child may never be exposed to. It is a blood-borne or body fluid-borne illness that requires an infected person's body fluids to be introduced into an uninfected body, all right, typically through sexual transmission or dirty needles. So I don't know why we need to have our children be exposed to that at birth, but that's the way the current schedule is set up. So that's one concern. Second concern is the frequency and number of investigations that are given. The sheer volume of immunizations has increased drastically. I told you how many I got, but if we go back as recently as the 80s, they were giving 20-something vaccinations back in the 80s. Now that number is 70-something. Some doctors express concerns about the combo vaccines, like the MMR, the DTP, where they stack multiple vaccines into one application. And there are doctors that have recommended that those be spread out to give your child's developing immune system a chance to not be overwhelmed by those multiple doses at the same time. The presence of toxic heavy metals is another concern, and it's a big one. Aluminum is used as an adjuvant in many vaccines. An adjuvant is a substance added to the vaccine that enhances the body's response to the injected virus antigen. That's a lot of words in there. But what that means is because of the adjuvant, the body has a big immune reaction to the actual adjuvant. And then the antigen for the virus that's on board, the body also responds and makes adequate numbers of antibodies to offer the protection they want to offer. Without the adjuvant, they don't get that. Well, the problem with aluminum is it's toxic. And at certain levels, it can cause serious problems. So pharmaceutical companies have said that the amount used is not enough to be concerned about and safe. But you're still injecting a toxic substance into your child. So just so you know, vaccines that may have aluminum, depending on who manufactured them, are the hepatitis B vaccine, which we're getting at birth, the DTaP, diphtheria, tetanus, and pertussis vaccine, the Hib, which is Haemophilus influenza type B vaccine, the HPV, which is a human papillovirus, and the pneumococcal conjugate, which is a vaccine given to help children not develop pneumonia. So again, it's important to know if you're giving those vaccines to your child, do they include aluminum? Another concern is with thimerosal. Thimerosal is used as a preservative in vaccines that are stored in multiple doses in a single vial. So thimerosal is mercury. All right, mercury is a known cytotoxic, meaning toxic to cells compound. It's a known neurotoxic compound, toxic to your nervous system, and a known immunotoxic compound. So ingesting mercury runs the risk of doing some pretty severe damage in children. Now, thimerosal was once very commonly used. It's been reduced but not limited. In most childhood vaccines, thimerosal has been limited or at the very least reduced to trace amounts. So it's important to ask your pediatrician if the vaccine that they're administering includes either one of these substances, and then have a conversation with them about that. Vaccines that may include thimerosal, depending on the manufacturer, include the influenza vaccine. They're still using it in the flu vaccine, all right, regardless of your age. The diphtheria, tetanus, and pertussis vaccines that are combined different ways. I often use it there. The Hib, I mentioned before, Haemophilus influenza type B, the hepatitis B vaccine, again, given at birth, and the hepatitis A vaccine, as well as the meningococcal vaccine. These are all vaccines that still use, in some cases, thimerosal. So my suggestion is to do your own research. All right, become educated on the subject. Make choices you feel most comfortable with for your children. I fully vaccinated my son. That was before I began this research journey. He had every vaccine available, no adverse reactions. I had my two daughters while I was in chiropractic school, began to look at some things differently. With my older daughter, I chose an alternative vaccine schedule and spread the vaccines out more, began her vaccine schedule when she was 18 months rather than at birth. With my youngest daughter, she never received a vaccine other than her mother took her and she had a Gardasil vaccine when she was a teenager. But other than that, she was not vaccinated. Now, I'm not recommending you do the same for your kids, but those are the decisions that I made based on my own research. One problem is that there's a lot of information out there, both pro and con, and it's important to have a credible source of information. I want to share two books with you that can be helpful. The first book is called The Vaccine Book by Robert Sears. I really like this book. Robert Sears is a classically trained pediatrician. In the early years of his practice, everybody got vaccinated according to the schedule until someone presented him with information about serious adverse reactions. He became concerned, delved into his own research into the medical literature. That concerned him even more. As a result of his research, he chose to modify his own children's vaccine schedules, and he wrote this book. What I like about this book is there's a chapter on each one of the vaccines. It describes the disease, why the vaccine was developed, what's in the vaccine, reasons why you might want to vaccine your child, reasons you might want to be concerned. It's a very reasonable and informative book. It can help you as a parent become comfortable or uncomfortable with the vaccines and make informed choices about what you want to do with your child. Second book is called The Vaccine Friendly Plan. This book was written by Dr. Paul Thomas. Dr. Paul Thomas is also a pediatrician. He started the same way, giving all the vaccines according to the CDC schedule, until he had a 4-year period where he saw 4 children he had taken care of have drastic changes in their personality and become autistic 4 years in a row. That shocked him. He was horribly remorseful for his role in there, did his own set of research, and what came out of that was he recommended a different schedule for the kids that he was taking care of. What I like about his book is not only does he talk about the vaccines and talk about the illnesses that they're intended for, it's again very it's vaccine friendly. It's very reasonable. It's very informative. But the piece I like about his book, he also goes into great deal making recommendations to help your child's immune system develop naturally. So he gives great information stage by stage as your child develops. It's an excellent book. Now, the next step is, if you do have concerns about these things, is to find a pediatrician who's willing to sit down with you, talk about your concerns, discuss your plan, and honor your wishes. Dr. Ross, Dr. Mary, and myself at 4 Points Family Chiropractic, we can also be resources for you if you'd like to find out how you can enhance your children's health and immune system. We'd love to sit down with you and be helpful with that. We help lots of children in our office. If you call our office, 512-345-9355, mention the word immunity, we'll schedule an initial appointment where we're going to do a comprehensive initial examination of your child, and then there will be a follow-up appointment to that where we'll review the findings with you, discuss the findings. If there's anything that needs to be addressed, we can talk with you about it at that time. We're offering both appointments at the special rate of only $97, all right? If you call and mention the word immunity. Regular price for these services is $348, so you have an opportunity to save over $250 if you call right now. All right? Now I want to shift gears. I want to discuss strategies to enhance your child's immune system rather than talking about vaccines, all right? Your babies, and this is regardless of whether you vaccinate or don't vaccinate, your baby's immune development begins in utero while your baby's still in the womb. Your baby's so therefore mom needs to be really careful because she's participating in the development of her baby's immune system. Her diet is very important. We need to make sure your diet that you're eating lots of organic, healthy fruits and vegetables. You want to get sugar out of your diet, avoid sodas, avoid sugary drinks and foods. You want to make sure also and avoid toxins. Some of the toxins you need to make sure you're avoiding are pesticides, acetaminophen, which is Tylenol, aspartame, which is NutraSweet, aluminum, mercury, fluoride. Some cleaning products also are very strong. You want to try to avoid those while you're pregnant because they can impact your developing child's brain and nervous system as well as their immune system. Mom, you need to minimize your stress as much as you possibly can. This is probably going to require some heart-to-heart conversations with dad to make sure that he's participating in this at the level that you need to keep your stress levels down. These are some quick strategies that give your baby's immune system support while developing in utero. A vaginal birth is also a much better choice when it comes to helping out with your baby's immune system development as opposed to a C-section. As the baby passes through the birth canal, mom's microbiome is passed on to the child, and that helps the baby develop its own gut health system, which is where the majority of our immune system is developed in our guts. Lung function is better following natural births vaginally, and also there's a much higher success rate of breastfeeding being successful following a vaginal birth. So that's very important. Now, I want to talk about breastfeeding for a minute, because breastfeeding is one of the most important things a mother can do to improve her newborn baby's immune system. A mother's breast milk offers baby the most superior nutrition that you can get for baby's growth, as well as for cognitive development. Breast milk contains antibodies, enzymes, and other immune factors that help protect baby from infections and diseases. Colostrum, which is the mother's very first produced milk, is called liquid gold because there's so much power in that, there's so much nutrition, and there's factors that can definitely influence your baby's immune system. So you want to try to get your baby on the breast as soon as possible so she can take advantage of the colostrum. It's important that while mom's breastfeeding, she eats lots of organic fruits and vegetables to ensure adequate protection of high-quality, healthy milk. I read in one of these books, it said that you actually need to eat more while you're breastfeeding your baby than you do while your baby's developing in order to produce adequate milk. Some mothers aren't able to breastfeed for various reasons. When that's the case, there is surrogate breast milk or donor milk available from organizations like mothersmilk.org and milkbank.org. You can check with them to see about obtaining another mother's breast milk. Solid food can be introduced between 4 and 6 months. Standard had been 6 months, but there are studies that have shown if you'll introduce the food a little bit earlier than that, that lessens the incidence of your child developing food allergies. You want your initial foods to be organic fruits and vegetables, probably pureed in the beginning, one food at a time. Processed foods need to be avoided, especially those in a jar, along with any sugary foods. You want to keep those away from your baby, particularly while they're young and they're developing. Probiotics will help the baby, again, to develop their own gut health. So yogurt and kefir can also be used to help in that area. Zinc-rich foods. Zinc's a very important part of our immune system. Like nuts, seeds, whole grains, and legumes can be added as your child develops their palate. Again, can be pureed earlier on, or later on you can introduce them in different ways. Now, it's very important to make sure and get your child outside. Exposure to sun helps the baby develop vitamin D. If they don't get out very often, you probably will need to supplement 1,000 IUs of vitamin D a day as your child gets a little bit older. That's an important part of enhancing your child's immune system. You want your child to be active and participate in age-appropriate exercise as early as possible. Activity and exercise also enhances the immune system. And you want to let your child get dirty. All right, we have tried to sanitize things so much to the point. It's important to know that as the infant grows and explores the world, exposure to various pathogens helps to further strengthen your child's immune system. While it's natural for infants to experience common infections like colds, ear infections, and gastrointestinal illnesses, these encounters actually provide opportunities for the immune system to learn and adapt, ultimately building resilience against future infections. It's like having your immune system exercised. Now, if you have concerns about your child, or yourself for that matter, you can call our office, as I mentioned before, 512-345-9355. Mention the word immunity. We're going to schedule an appointment to thoroughly examine you or your child, and then meet with you with a second appointment to go over their exam findings. Both these appointments for a total of only $97. That'll allow us to see if we can help you or your child achieve better health. The regular cost, $348. We'll do both of those for a considerable savings of only $97. All right. Last thing I want to talk about. I want to talk about the impact chiropractic can have on your child's immune system. First, chiropractic care improves nervous system function. All right, by correcting vertebral misalignments that get in the way of normal nervous system communication. Very important. Research has shown the nervous system modulates immune system function, so the healthier your nervous system, the healthier your immune system. And that's what we focus on, is nervous system function. There have been numerous studies that have investigated the effects of chiropractic care on key immune parameters. Chiropractic adjustments have been shown through studies to positively influence T and B lymphocyte production, which play crucial roles in recognizing and fighting infections. Chiropractic care has also been shown to enhance natural killer cell production. Natural killer cells enhance immune surveillance, watch for the diseases as they come in and bolster the body's defense mechanisms. Research has also indicated adjustments correlate with increased antibody production. So those are all big deals. They all, through studies, have shown that chiropractic does have a positive impact on your immune system. And then the last piece that's important to be aware of, chiropractic is part of a holistic approach to health. When we work with families, with parents, with their kids, in addition to spinal adjustments to correct these misalignments, we also coach our patients on the importance of adequate sleep, eating healthy, balanced, nutritious meals, regular movement and exercise and the role that plays on your health, and stress reduction strategies, and not only for the parents but for children as well. The result is not only better immune system function, but better health overall. Our goal ultimately is to help families in our community achieve optimal wellness for the entire family, for that matter. So this approach resonates with you and sounds like something you'd like for you, your child, or your family. Call our office, 512-345-9355. We'd love to meet with you, all right? We'll set up a comprehensive initial examination, a follow-up appointment, where we'll review your exam findings. Once again, all this is regularly valued at $348. We're offering this for $97. If you call the office, mention the word immunity. That's all it takes. So that's it for this month. Be sure and tune in next month. Dr. Mary is going to be presenting strategies to help you age gracefully, ways that you can maintain your health as you age and have much better years down the road. All right, so be sure and check it out. It's going to be an awesome webinar. Until then, I'm Dr. Tom Neblett with 4 Points Family Chiropractic. We want to show you a better way to better health for you and for your family. Thanks.